Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Laurie and I live in northern Utah, gardening zone 7A. And it's the perfect day to set up Christmas lights. It's low 50s and it's going to be that way for a couple days, so hopefully we can get these done within that time frame. We're going to be putting up lights on our trees in our backyard, and I did this for the first time last year and it brought us so much joy all winter long to look outside and have some color and just have that ambiance. It was so nice. So while last year I was a little bit nervous about doing it, this time I'm not, because I've done it before and I've learned a few things and I'm mostly just excited to do it. So I thought I'd take you guys along with us as we do this today. There's definitely a few things that I've learned, some things that I would do again and things that I wouldn't do again. So I'm going to go over those things. And it was really hard to find any good tutorials on how to wrap pine tree branches with Christmas lights pretty densely. So I'm hoping that this can be a resource for all of you and I can show you the way that I did it last year. I kind of just tried to figure it out on my own and it turned out pretty good. So hopefully I can do the same thing again this year. I'm definitely not a professional, but I think they turned out pretty good and hopefully they will this year too. A lot of times when you see pine trees, they just have the lights around the outside, but I wanted the lights just really deep within and give you the shape of the pine tree because pines are my favorite trees. So they're so fun. I did find a lot of tutorials on how to wrap large tree trunks and some tips and tricks for that, which was really helpful, and I'm going to be doing that on my large trees today as well. Let me turn the camera around and show you some of the items that I have and we'll go over some tips and tricks and then we'll get started. So most of my lights I got from Walmart last year and they're the holiday time brand, and then some other ones I got from Home Depot or Lowe's. Now one thing I didn't realize is that some I bought LED but I think most of these are just the incandescent lights. Once you get your lights, you want to roll them up in a ball and have the male end out. So you're going to have your other plugged into the wall, right? And then you're going to have the female end. So you're going to want to have the male end out. So the female end is in the middle of this. So that way it's just easy to maneuver and roll around and wrap. So that's the most helpful thing. As far as this brand, I think the holiday time is fine. I've been quite happy with it, at least for 1 year. I did notice they did fade just slightly, but they were out for like 4 or 5 months in the sun, so, and the snow and the elements. But other than that, I think they held up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. We also purchased these timers from Home Depot last year, which was really, really nice and helpful because in that way they just come on automatically and you don't have to worry about it. So that was really nice too. You also want to make sure you wear long sleeves just so your arms don't get all scratched up, and then some flexible gloves are really nice too, just so you can not get poked by the pine tree because they can be very pokey. So I do have these smaller lights for some of my trees, and I'll show you what trees I'm going to do what on. And then these bigger ones I did for my twin pines, I'm going to call them. And then I did just green on the pine tree over here, and oh, it was just stunning, you guys. I'm so excited to have these again. I also have some netting lights that I'm going to use over here. So I'm going to do some netting lights on some rose bushes over here. I'm going to do this pine tree green. And all these big trunks here from these Russian olive trees and that elm tree, I'm gonna wrap. And then these are my twin pines, and I did both of those red. And then I have another pine tree right here that I did multicolor, and I thought it turned out cute. And I'm gonna do the same thing. We did have some issues with lighting with that one, so I do wanna troubleshoot that, but it should be fine. Okay, before I get started, I do wanna plug in and make sure that all of my lights work and they're looking good. I actually really do like these kind of crystally red ones. They're really pretty, and this is kind of the larger bulb, and they turned out really cute on my pines. So I did a few lower rows, and now I'm going to show you close up, and my mic just broke the little adapter piece on it. So hopefully you guys can hear me, but I'm going to put my tripod here and show you what I'm doing. So I like to come and wrap down each strand. Since that one's little, usually I'll come back on a bigger one, but I don't want to, so I'm actually going to move it over here to this side. This one's a little guy too. So over here, to get closer in, now I have this big one. So I'm going to start at the back of this big branch. And I'm gonna just rotate around it. And I'm gonna come and do this. See how this one's branching out? I'm just gonna come and wrap around that side of it. Then I'm gonna cross over to this end, get a little closer. And then I'm gonna go back down it and get this branch that's sticking out this way. And I feel like it looks better if you try to have a light at the end of a branch. So at the end I will come out and I'll just kind of adjust some of them. So I try not to do it too tight, kind of tight, but not too tight. Wrap it around that. Yeah, back down it. And then back up here. And it helps to have that in a ball because it's so much easier. What's nice about pine trees is if you drop it, it usually just catches it with the other branch. And then I'll go back down. Not too tight, just kind of down the branch. And then move my way to the next one. So hopefully that's easy to see. These 2 branches, which is nice. I might go down one and go back on the other one. Kind of just one though, so never mind. But that way you get it all the way into the tree and all the way into the middle, and I just think it looks so much better. It's really not too bad, especially with these pine trees that are more sparse. We're going to wrap these lights around it and go up both sides just as high as we can reach with the ladder. We're not going to go any higher than that, but I'll get in a little closer and show you what we do. So it's nice to have someone to help you if you have a larger tree. So we're going to do this tree together, but we're going to leave our male end on this side because this power is going to connect over there. And then, and we like to have it spaced, each row spaced about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches apart, but we're gonna skip every other one. So when you come back down with this, with the string, you're gonna come in between. So we'll just keep handing that. I like to keep it straight, as straight as I can. But we'll just do this. Leave the same amount of space. Obviously it doesn't have to be perfect, but
Did you say something about having pre-wrapped, pre-balled up?
yeah, and like you can see here, it's nice to have them. Brandon's not mic'd up, but it's nice to have them balled up. Makes it a lot easier than dealing with a bunch of line, and this part goes pretty quickly. Except for when you're by yourself. Not as quickly. So we came back down from this branch, and where it forks here, the bifurcation, as Brandon says, you'll go back up the other side. Hey guys, so it's the next day. We ran out of sunlight. We got as much as we could get done. And I think we're gonna be another day too after this one because I'm the only one working on it today. And next time we work on it, we're gonna get the tractor out when the grass dries out a little bit or the ground is frozen, either one, and get the tops of the trees. So I've gotten as high as I can go on the ladder on the other trees, but now I'm gonna start in on my green tree. This pine tree, I did it green last year. I'm also gonna do this pine tree over here green as well. And I just loved it, but it's quite a bit bigger than it was last year. And so I'm gonna get started on that. I'm doing these smaller green and they just have a big impact, especially when you wrap them up super tight. And so I think it's gonna look really good. And honestly, it's kind of easy once you get in there and start doing it. And these are a little bit easier to work with, if I remember right, than those red ones that I had put on my twin pines. So gonna get going on this. And so I'm just gonna show you the best I can how I'm doing this. So it was a little bit hard down here at the base. There's some kind of dead branches. I don't know if you can see them, but I wanted to fill that in really good. So I even put it on the dead branches because I remembered last year there was a little bit of a hole down here and I wanted to make sure I filled that in. I also remembered from last year that I wanted them a little closer to the trunk. I just felt like they needed to be a little bit deeper, even though I felt like I went pretty close to the trunk. So I'm making sure to go in just a little bit tighter. And then I'm going to show you how I wrap. I've done up to like here on this part, and I'm gonna just do these few branches here and show you, and hopefully you can see that close enough. Just plug into my next one. I like to go down the stem and then back. And if there's too close together, I'll go up one and down one sometimes, just depending. But I'm just gonna wrap like this. Sometimes it is easier with these smaller lights to just unroll a little bit and then swing it around like this. So then I'm going to wrap this around this other branch. Hopefully you can see that. And then back down. And when I go back, I try to pull a little snug, but I don't want a ton of light, so I'm not going to go wrap it all the way back down. I'm just going to do like one wrap because I don't want to use up a ton of my lights. Okay, so now we're going to go to this branch and I'm going to bring it here and unroll it, and I'm going to bring it back as far as I can to the trunk. I actually think I want to wind it one more time. I'm going to pull it through here. As close as I can to the trunk. And then I'm going to come back up. On. That's the tricky part, getting it by the trunk. Okay, now I'm ready to come wrap it around this branch. So I'll just come wrap it, and since it has some branches out here, I will kind of go around them, and I'll probably come back around this branch. It honestly does not have to be perfect, but I like it to be covered pretty well because it looks cool. And then, like I said, I'll unwrap this and do this. And then I'll go back down. So I'm going to wrap it underneath once. One more time. Let's see if there's a branch I can. Let's shift to this side. Now I'm going to come and take it in as close as I can to the trunk. So I'm going to unravel this a little bit and hold it, and then I'll use this hand to really tuck it back in. And then I'll come around these branches. So I'm going to start with this lower one here. Wrap it. And then I'm going to come back on this branch. And really, you just kind of make it up as you go. probably go around this one a little bit because there's a few branches together here. Like so. Now that branch is done, so now I'm going to go to a branch here that I didn't get. Go back to the trunk as far as I can and keep going. I'll just keep doing this back and forth. That took a while, probably a whole week, like 3 days of putting up lights, but everything looks so pretty. And we got some snow a couple times in between that. We seriously had like 2 weeks of fall, which is typical for Utah, and then we jump right into winter. So I have a green tree here, that funky one. Sometimes lights don't show up all the way because they move at a different speed than the camera, so some of them are looking kind of weird, but all the lights are working. There's a few little spots that are out, but for the most part, they're pretty good. So all of these are LEDs out here. Last year, I accidentally mixed both, so I'm going to move the incandescent up front, and I'll just use incandescent all exclusively up front if I decide to do any trees up there. But I wanted to show you at dusk because it's beautiful right now with the mountains for one, and it shows you a little bit more definition, even though some spots will get a little bit patchy that you won't be able to see. But it's all done. I've got some red trees. I decided to put some white. Definitely needed something to anchor it down to the ground. I had put multicolored lights in here and it was just way too busy. I wanted to keep it to 3 colors. I just think that looks so much nicer. So I do have just the red and the green and the white. So I put some white to balance out here. And then all these trees are done that Brandon did. And then I put some red here to kind of bring out the red over here. And then we have this gorgeous green tree here. Oh, my favorite. Look how pretty that is, you guys. And they're gonna look so beautiful with snow on top of them. I just can't wait. I also want to add just white lights to these rose bushes right here. I just need to get another extension cord from here because I need a longer one. So I will put those there. I actually have multicolored lights on here. I'm gonna see if I like that. I did it last year, but I feel like I'm kind of wanting just white. But that's the last thing I have left to do, but I thought I'd just show you guys because that's pretty simple. And then there's some white ones down here just to ground this area a little bit. So beautiful. And I also wanted to show you at this time of night because at night it's really hard for the camera to focus on the lights. This time of day you can get a little bit more definition, so you can kind of see that it's really close and wrapped around those tree branches, so it looks really good. I'm so glad I take the extra time to do that instead of just like wind it around the tree. I think it just makes a huge difference. So I will show this to you as soon as it gets dark, but just know the lights are so bright that it's not going to be in focus, but it'll give you a good idea of what it looks like. And then maybe if it snows again before I post this video, I'll show you a video of it with snow, or maybe that will be part of my December garden tour. But anyway, it looks so much prettier with snow on top of everything. Also, let me show you the timers that I have for these lights, because that makes a big difference too, and I wanted to mention. So over here by the shed, I have two timers. I have one on this side and one on this side, and it's really nice because you can just set how many hours you want them on. So right now I just have them on, but when dusk hits, they'll switch on. So like if I switch this to, let me try it here with one finger. I'm gonna put it on 6 hours because that's how long I want them to go off. And this is the time of night I want them to go off. So once you put it on 6 hours, when it hits dusk, this sensor will turn it on, and they'll only be on for 6 hours, and they'll automatically shut off. So that's really nice. I'm going to change the other one. I have that plug there. I have a big long extension cord running here to this tree. And then from this tree to this bush, I plugged in, and then I did an extension cord here, and so on. I just kept putting them on there. I do try to make sure that my plugs aren't like on the ground. They're kind of hanging on something so that water doesn't get into them, but I really haven't had too many issues with that. There are some covers that you can buy, and I think I showed you guys those. I am going to put them on here. I haven't done it yet. Where they connect, like where these two connect, I'll pop those on right now. Actually, let's do it right now. Okay, so I have this here. So it's just like this little cage thing I got at Lowe's. I might not be able to do this one-handed, but you just put this in here, get it in tight, and it has like a rubber seal, and then you'll just kind of close it, and it will protect water from getting in between these. And those are where I really feel like I need this, so I'll do these in a few spots. And I got that one all clamped up, so that's really nice too. I'll tuck that back here. Okay, so I'll have to do it on a strand here too, because I think there's 2 strands in this area. And then I'm gonna go switch the timer on this other one. So this one with my twin pines, I have a short extension cord that goes to here, and then these plug in through here behind the rock. And then I have an extension cord across the grass from this tree. And then I have an extension cord. So let's see, I'll show you. You need like a lot of these connectors that have three on them, because you're going from your power source and your tree and then out to another tree. So there's usually 3. That one has 4, but just nice to have. And then the cord runs along here and plugs in here. Ooh, it's getting chilly. And I'll switch this timer on to 6 hours as well. And it'll just take a minute to sense. The other one just took a second, and then yep, there we go. That popped on. Okay, I'm gonna wait for it to get just a little bit dark, and then I'll show you all the lights.